right. I think we've got everyone streaming. Just adjust a couple angles real quick. There. Okay. All right. So one of the streams didn't catch me when I started, but if you have some blocks, go ahead and grab them. If you have a blanket that you'd like for your legs, just adjusting a couple little things here. Okay. I think that will work. All right, thanks for your patience. So welcome, as I had mentioned, this is the 5 p.m. Yinergy class. I will be following this immediately with a 6 o'clock power core class. I mentioned hi guys. I had mentioned on my personal page that I wanted to incorporate the heart chakra in some classes this week. So we're gonna start with that today. The heart chakra is the 4th chakra, and when we practice these heart openers, what we're kind of doing is leaving ourselves vulnerable, creating space in the chest around the heart so that we can kind of navigate the world in a way that's a little bit more compassionate. I think that's a very important quality to have, especially in times like this. Essentially, when we open up our hearts like that, we kind of allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to be real and to be raw. And it's, even if it's just for a few moments in a certain posture, our heart isn't guarded. So I really want you to try to relax and open up and be real with yourself and be real with your practice today. Staying in the present moment, as always, is super important. You've dedicated this time for yourself to join me in this class. So trying to kind of quiet the mind and let go of anything that might be bothering you or getting in the way of yourself or your practice or your mood. Your yoga practice doesn't really care how you show up. If your hair is a mess or if your mind is clouded, it's the fact that you're showing up and that you're taking the time and putting in the work and the effort and that you're here. So always being proud of yourself for showing up. The heart chakra is the energy chakra for love and compassion and emotion. So that's kind of what drives us in our everyday lives. We really lead from the heart. So these postures that we're going to be getting into today are going to clear that area of the body. Now, as we're going through this practice, don't be surprised if maybe something arises, something comes up. Maybe there's some emotion that you've had bottled up and you didn't really know exactly where it came from, or so let yourself feel things. It's okay to feel things every once in a while. I would be fibbing to you if I said that I hadn't had many moments on the mat where things come to the surface and kind of allow themselves to free, which is a really amazing feeling. So don't hold back. As we're going through these postures, I want you to try not to worry so much about what it looks like or what it's supposed to look like. Really focus on how it feels for your body, making any modifications in addition to the ones that I'm going to be giving you to make sure the body feels safe and comfortable. So always knowing that child's pose is available to you at any time, or you can take, posture such as Shavasana. Really making sure that you're not putting your body in any sort of harm. I want to start off today with everybody sitting tall and sitting well. Hi guys, thank you all for joining me. Great. Looks like everyone's organized and everyone is here. So I do want to start by maybe setting an intention for our practice today. Get into my position. So when we're setting an intention for our practice, we're sitting up nice and tall and well. A few things to think about before we actually get started when we're talking about the heart chakra. Maybe some intentions that have to deal with allowing and accepting love and compassion freely being kind to yourself so that you can bring kindness outwardly to others, allowing happiness and joy, maybe releasing fear of getting hurt. I think that with love comes fear. They do kind of go hand in hand, but knowing that you're putting yourself in a vulnerable spot can be fearful, but knowing that it's going to pass, knowing that the long-term effect and goal is not the fear or the scared, it's the love and the benefit of that love that you receive and output. Another one would be cultivating compassion. I already talked about compassion today. So as long as your intention feels true to you, as long as it's something that holds value, then that's great. And when I mentioned to you to come back to your intention throughout class, doing so as a way to stop the mind from thinking about other things, stopping the mind from wandering and worrying about what you're doing at 6:05, for instance. So let's get started. Having a nice tall seat. In Sukhasana, so Sukhasana means our easy seat, so whatever's easy for you, if it's cross-legged, if it's half lotus, if you feel more comfortable with your legs out in front of you, just making sure you remove the flesh from the sit bones and find a spot that works for you. Starting to take those nice deep breaths. As we take our deep breaths in, we inhale, we open up the chest, we drop the shoulders. We're nice and rooted into the earth. We've got that imaginary string starting at the hara, the root of the body, and going all through the center of the body, crossing the Anahata Chakra, the heart chakra, the throat, the third eye, out the crown of the head, sitting us up nice and tall. And just imagine that you're suspended there. As you rise up, be careful not to raise the shoulders to the ears. We want to keep them nice and low. We want to draw the shoulder blades open and back, really creating space around that chakra, keeping the heart open. And we start to work on the pranayama, the breath. What we're looking for is a nice, consistent pace where the level of inhale matches that of the exhale. So whether it's a count of 5 in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you hold, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be any number, but sometimes counting kind of gives the mind something to focus on. Starting to feel the body relax. Feel the chest soften, the belly soften. Even though we're keeping that core nice and active, that belly button is zipped up and in. The ribs are closed. The thighs soften. Allow the fingertips to soften. Palms can be facing up. You want to invite in some of that good positive love and energy. Picking your intention for your practice today. With every inhale, we invite in light and fire, and with every exhale, we just let go of any tension, anything that we've been holding on to that doesn't belong to us. Anything that we no longer need, anything that we may be holding on to for other people. Once the body relaxes, the mind's allowed to relax as well. You can gently open the eyes. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, reaching over to the left. Gazing up towards the fingertips, making sure we keep this hip nice and rooted. We're not lifting up off the ground. Creating a nice long line. We can use our blocks here. I want you to try to reach through the arm, extending it nice and long. Feeling that stretch in the entire side of the body. Inhaling up. Exhale, reaching to the other side. Taking any movement in the head or the neck that feels good and right. Taking your time, staying in a posture for an extra few seconds if you feel the need. Maybe you found a spot that needs a little attention. Making this practice your own. Inhaling up. And exhale, placing the hands behind the body, opening up the chest. We're going to place our tippy fingers behind the back. And then as we exhale, we're going to lift up the hips, opening up the chest, dropping the head. Pressing the hips up nice and flat. Exhale, coming down. Reach the hands out in front, forward fold. Rolling the fingertips behind the body again, pressing up the hips, opening up the chest. Dropping the head and neck back. Allowing the hips to come back down to the ground, reaching forward fold. And again, bringing the hands behind the body. Exhale, pressing up, opening up the chest. Dropping the head back. Exhaling the hips down. And reaching forward, forward fold. If you'd like to place a block underneath the head, by all means. I want you to reach those fingertips out in front of you as long as you can, so you're activating the upper arm. Inhale, just lift the chin and the head. Exhaling down. Inhale, lifting the chin and the head. And as we do that, we activate those fingers and we pull the fingers back towards the body, really stretching the top of the neck and the top of the back. Exhale, release. Inhale one more time, gripping and clawing through those fingers, reaching up the head, pressing down into the sit bones, keeping them nice and rooted. And then exhale, we're gonna arch the back and we're gonna drag the fingertips back up. Pressing through the root of the body, rolling back, arms follow up. And we exhale the hands through to the heart chakra, Anjali Mudra, our heart center. Nice deep breaths. Taking a moment here. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling the support of the earth beneath the sit bones. We're going to inhale the arms up. We're going to twist over to the left. We're going to take that right hand and place it on the left thigh. We're going to take the left hand and open up behind us. Again, you can use a block if you have one. Pressing up, so we'll press that hand into the block, pressing it tall, so that we can open up this shoulder. We can bend that elbow behind us and we can gaze over the shoulder. As you exhale, get a little deeper into the twist. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, taking that left hand to the right leg, right hand behind, pressing up to open that shoulder and gazing over your left shoulder. Trying to keep this shoulder from falling down. We want to push it and keep it up. Push it and roll it back and roll it over. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Walking the hands over to the left. Again, stretching the side of that body. Using your fingertips to pull you nice and long. Crossing the center and to the other side. Slowly coming back to center and rolling the body up. Let's make our way into some cat-cows. I incorporate these into pretty much every class. It's just a nice way to warm up the entire body. Getting the knees underneath the hips, the wrists underneath the shoulders. Mayurasana, cat. Exhale, arch the back, pull that belly button in. Press through the hands to get tall. Inhale, drop the shoulders down, pull through. Finding a nice rhythm that works for you today here. Ooh, I don't know if any of you did my core class yesterday, but I'm feeling that in the abs. This is a nice way to take a little check on the body, see if there's anything extra tight or tense that you want to pay a little bit more attention to. Maybe sitting down into the hips. If you're doing some circles, just make sure you're doing them on both sides equally. Nice. We're gonna come onto our knees. If you have a blanket that you'd like to use underneath your knees for a little bit of extra support, by all means go ahead and grab it, or a towel. If you have blocks, I suggest you grab them. Now we're gonna be coming into camel. We're gonna be doing a few variations. So we're gonna start, I like to take the blocks and I like to place it. We're gonna start with the right, so on the inside of the right calf. And I might as well place the other block on the inside of the left calf. So my feet and my knees and my legs are about hips distance apart, maybe slightly wider. You can play with this as we go through. We're gonna start with half camel. So we're gonna reach up the arms. The one thing that I want you to be conscious of is that you don't lean back into this. What we're doing is we're gonna take that right hand, we're gonna place it behind us, reaching for the block, and we're gonna press open. So we're pressing from the pelvis forward, and we're elongating the thighs as we come back. We're not hinging the body back into the knees. So reaching that body up, exhale, right arm comes down, and we press forward. Now, if you don't want to use the blocks, you can reach for that heel. Nice deep breath, finding our way up. Exhale to the other side, finding that block, reaching up and open, a nice big heart opener. Inhaling back up. So the other modification for this, we're going to come into it on each side, is taking that hand and placing the heel of the hand at the sacrum. Same effect. We pull that shoulder down and back, and we open up. So whatever modification fits your body today. Again, pressing down and out and through. Rising up. And taking the left hand, exhale, opening up. Inhale, both arms come up, coming into a full camel. So again, modification 1, hands are at the heel of the hands are at the sacrum. Modification 2, we can find both blocks. Modification 3, we can come all the way down to the heels. Inhaling the arms up, exhale. Finding your way back up. Exhale, hands come to heart center and back into that tabletop position, removing any blocks that you may have had used. Good, nice deep breath. Stretching out those legs and meeting me in plank. You can remove the blanket if you have it under your knees and just place it to the side. So meeting me in a plank position. So we want to make sure that we're starting with our chest over our hands, extending out the legs, pressing through the heels, keeping that bum from coming up. When we're in our plank position, we want to make sure that we're gazing over the mat. When we drop the head down, we end up dumping into our shoulders. We want to keep those shoulders nice and high. So roll those shoulders, press through those hands, and hold that plank. Pull the belly into the spine, gaze over the top of our mat, keeping the body nice and long, pressing through the heels. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, press the chest down. Walk the feet about a half a footprint forward, coming into your downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Pedaling out those feet. Maybe taking that left foot behind the right and pressing down. Using your breath. Switching sides. Nice deep breath. Back into downward facing dog. Going through our first flow of our practice today. But first, let's make sure we're in the right position. We shouldn't have moved those hands any. We should be clawing through the pads of the fingers, pressing down through the knuckles, but roll forward back into that plank, making sure we're in the right position. Exhale, lift the hips, back to downward facing dog. Nice deep breath going through our vinyasa, adding an extra push-up before our chaturanga if you'd like. Halikasana plank. Exhale, push up. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, baby cobra. Pull those shoulders back, press through the hands. Keep the elbows from falling out, keep them close to the body. Exhale all the way down. Again, we're pressing through those hands. The elbows stay nice and tight, and we push the chest up, coming into cobra. Pressing through the knuckles, not just the heel of the hand, taking some pressure off the wrists. Exhale down. One more time, inhale, cobra. Pull the shoulder blades, squeeze them onto the back of the body, opening up the chest. Exhale all the way down and back into downward facing dog. Nice deep breath. Rolling the body forward into plank. Exhale, turning the heels to the right, opening up side plank. Hand comes down, twisting the feet to the other side. Modification, we can come down to the knees if we'd like. Back to plank. Holding nice and strong. Pressing back into downward facing dog. Pedaling out those feet. And going through our flow, rolling the body forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, cobra. Exhale down all the way. We're going to come into Sphinx here, another great heart opener. So we're going to place the forearms on the mat, and we're going to press up. So we want the elbows to be pretty much a 90-degree angle with the shoulders. We want to sit up nice and tall. We're pressing into the forearms. The fingertips are spread. Turn this way for a moment. Fingertips are spread. We're nice and square. Our head is lifted. Relax the legs. You'll probably squeeze in your glutes. If you are, relax the legs. They're active, but they're not tense. As you exhale, you drop that belly a little farther into the ground. You pull that chest up. Probably starting to feel those arms get a little warm. We're pressing hard to keep that chest open. Pressing through the forearms. Pressing through the fingers. Pressing through the palms of the hands. Press the thumb into the ground. Make sure you can feel all those fingers. Again, every inhale, you lift up higher. Every exhale, you drop that belly farther into the ground. Exhale, release down. Place your hands on top of each other and place your chin on the top of your hand. Maybe coming back to that intention for a moment. Next posture while we're here, we're going to come into locust. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms behind the body to the side of the body. As we inhale, we're going to keep the feet on the ground for the first one. So I want you to attach the tops of the feet and pull and grip through the feet. Inhale up, pulling. So we're pulling the arms back like someone's pulling them behind you. Our feet are staying on the ground. Relax the glutes, don't squeeze them, and lift up. Every breath you take, get a little higher and a little higher, pulling the heads of the shoulder blades back, and exhale. Coming down to the ground, resting for a moment. Next modification, we're going to lift the arms and lift the legs and just pretending that someone's pulling both of them behind you. Inhale up, legs up, gazing forward, opening up the chest, creating space around that heart. Inhale higher. Inhale higher, and exhale, release the entire body. Next modification, we can do the same thing that we just did, or if you'd like to grab for the feet and come into more another modification, one thing to remember is if we're coming into this modification, we aren't pulling the legs, we're pressing the feet into the hands, okay? So we don't want to yank the feet back. We want to use those feet, and as we press, we lift straight up. We don't pull our body. So finding whichever modification works for you, if you can attach those feet, by all means, inhale and open. Again, pressing into the feet, lift higher. And release. Making your way into child's pose. I prefer lately a wide-legged child's pose, so my toes are together, my knees are open. I allow my chest to fall, reaching out the arms, or you can sweep them behind your back. If you prefer to use a block here for your head. Staying in that posture for a few moments. Maybe saying to yourself that you are willing to live your life with an open heart, and just kind of think about what that statement means to you, if it resonates with you, if there's a certain instance or event that maybe comes to mind when you're talking about, being open in that area. And think about maybe how that impacts you on your in your day-to-day life. When you live with an open heart, we can accept people. We can accept the good and kind of get rid of some of the negative and some of the hatred, because we understand that it's not something that serves us at all. It's not something that we want to waste our energy on. Staying in that child's pose for another moment. When you view the world through the eyes of love, through the heart, we're utilizing the power of acceptance, forgiveness, filling our hearts with happiness and wholeness. And again, like I mentioned earlier, accepting that with that may come some fear or some pain, but knowing that that shall pass and that the outcome is much greater, much more satisfying. Nice deep breath back into that tabletop position. Lifting up the heels, pressing down and back into downward facing dog. Dropping the head. We're going to lift up that right leg, three-legged dog. As we lift up, we want to press that back heel down. Keep those hips square, try not to twist. We're going to be coming into Anjaneyasana, our half crescent lunge. So we're going to bring this knee down and through. If it gets stuck, just help it. It's going to come in between the hands. We're going to drop the back knee, drop the back toes. We're going to press down and we're going to sweep up, maybe inviting in a little back bend, opening up the heart. We can take those fingertips, interlace them behind the body and really get nice and deep into the chest, nice and deep into the hips. If we are looking more like this, like we're standing square, scoot that front foot forward. Exhale, press down into the hips. We can even melt the chest down. And lift the chest up, finding the core strength, pressing through that front foot. Dropping the head back. Reaching the arms up. Exhaling the hands down around the foot. Tucking the toes, lifting the knee. Bringing that right foot back to meet the left, downward facing dog. Going through our flow. So roll the body forward, lift those heels, roll forward nice and strong, pressing through those hands, press the heels back. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Nice deep breath as we lift up the left leg, noticing how this leg may feel different. Exhale that back heel down and bring that foot in between the hands, dropping the back knee, dropping the back toes, and reaching up. Again, if we're kind of square here, get a little deeper, bring that foot forward. Exhale, sitting into that stretch, interlacing the fingers behind the body, rolling those shoulders back. Maybe dropping the chest down. Inhaling up. Reaching the arms open, exhaling the hands down, tucking the right toes, lift the right knee, invite the left foot back. Nice deep breath. Going through our vinyasa, roll the body forward into plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Slowly walking those feet forward. Coming into a forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, sitting down, reaching up, chair pose. So when we're in that chair pose, we elongate the thighs, we press back and sit down. We want to make sure that we can lift and spread the toes, gazing in between the hands. And we'll open up that chest a little by bringing those hands behind the body. Nice deep breath. Every exhale, get a little deeper. Feel the activation in the legs. Keeping that gaze forward. Pressing down, forward fold. Bending those knees generously again. Allow the chest to kind of sit on the legs. Drop the head, and then slowly roll the body up. Pulling the belly in. Rolling the shoulders back. Inhale, Arni Swallow. Exhale, the hands come down to your heart center, your Anahata Chakra, Anjali Mudra. Nice deep breath. Finding ourselves in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Feel the feet in the ground, kind of maybe take some little circles here, activating the feet. So by doing this, we're kind of feeling the outer arches, the inner arches, the big toe, the heel. So after you go around a couple times, maybe switch sides, go the other way. And as you keep moving through, keeping the heel active as you move over to the inner and outer arch, keeping the toes active as you reach through the other side. So now that we're here, I want you to find yourself back in the center, and I want you to press down through the middle of your foot, almost like you're creating a suction cup. We're going to come into Vrikstasana, our tree pose. We're going to start by leaning over to the left. So as we lean over to the left, we're activating that left leg. This right leg can almost come off the ground. Placing your hands on your hips and then allowing this leg to come to any point on the body where it's comfortable without using the hands. We're gonna stand up nice and tall. We're pressing nice and firm into that leg. Our shoulders are back. We're nice and tall up here. So whether that foot is at the ankle, whether it's at the shin, or whether it's higher, exhale, finding your spot. Reaching the arms up. Let's take a wide arm here, keeping that space that we're creating in the chest. We press down through the entire foot. We inhale, we press down even farther, but we get taller. Nice deep breath. Pull that belly in. We can stay here for a moment, or if you'd like, we can grab that big toe with the peace fingers, and we can extend it up and out to the side. Again, staying nice and tall in the upper body. You're going to place that leg back to where it came from, and down. Good. Trying some new progressions here, accepting where you're at if it's not in your practice today, but sometimes it's worth a try. And if you want to, in this position, stand closer to a pole or the wall, by all means. Sometimes just knowing that it's there is a comfort. So switching sides again, same thing for Kristasana, our tree pose. Activate those feet a little bit. Leaning over to the right. We press down into the hips, so we're almost tilting this hip up. Roll the shoulders back. The farther we press down, the taller we get. Hands on the hips. Finding your posture here, whether it be toes touching the ground, the shin, or the thigh. As we are now tall, we press down. We keep those hips nice and open. We roll the shoulders back. Find that balance. If you lose your balance, reset. Don't rush back into it. Find your rhythm, take your time, reaching the arms up and open. Dropping the shoulders, keeping the chest wide. And if you'd like to take a variation here, grabbing the big toe with the peace fingers and extending out. Using that breath. Staying nice and tall. Replacing that leg. And down. Nice job for all of you that tried that. Remembering, some days we can't balance on 2 feet, let alone 1, so good job giving it a shot. Finding our way towards the top of our mat, making sure we have room for our hands. We inhale the arms up, and we're gonna exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Keep that belly pulled in, bend the knees, and round the head towards the knees. Maybe even take the fingertips behind the feet. Give them a little tug. Really getting a stretch in the entire back leg. But by tilting this, we're really creating more space in that spine. So bringing the chin towards the chest, towards the knees. The knees are bent. And then inhale, half lift. Placing the hands down on the ground, stepping back into plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra. Exhale back into a seated position. Nice deep breath here. Let's take soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana, bound ankle pose. And when we're talking about the heart, I talk about it a lot in forward folds. It's really important that as we're folding forward, we don't just allow the body to collapse down and we don't pull the shoulders forward and drop the chin to the chest. When we're taking our forward folds, we want to lead with the heart. So if you have a block, you can place a block in front of you. Grabbing the ankles or above the ankles, you can use the elbows to help with the knees. We're going to take a nice deep breath and we're going to hinge those hips. We're going to tilt the hips as we lean forward, keeping the chest open. You can wiggle maybe side to side. Use the breath as you exhale. You allow the self to get a little bit deeper. Maybe position that block either on the feet or in front of the feet. And just exhale, lower down. You have your head on the block. You can kind of roll the head side to side, crossing that plane of the third eye, chakra of intuition and wisdom. And just enjoy this forward fold here for a few moments. Hi, Erin, Jackie, April, Charles, Stephen, Jenna. Thank you guys all for joining me. Sandy. So in these moments in our practice, we can try to keep that mind quiet, coming back to our intention for a moment. Allowing any thoughts that are coming through our mind to just kind of float through. Allow them just to kind of make their way past. Accepting, allowing, and releasing each one. Trying not to hold on to things. And we hold on to things, they get trapped in different parts of our body. In our heart, our shoulders, our hips. We carry a lot of emotion in these areas of our body. So from this forward fold, we're going to come out of it the same way we got into it, nice and long. So we're going to lift up the chin and we're going to press the body up. Nice deep breath. Finding our way onto our backs. If you have your blocks, keep them handy. If you don't have blocks at home, you can always use like some books or even like a pillow can work as well. You can be creative. So lowering down onto the back. Now as we're down here, I want to make sure that our entire back is on the ground. We're going to come into happy baby. So grabbing the big toe with the peace fingers, or if that doesn't feel great for you today, if the hips are a little bit tight, you can even grab the thighs or grab the shins and just kind of take some movement here. We're looking for that space. We want the shoulder blades to be rolled underneath the body, so we're keeping that chest nice and open. The common theme for our practice today. The entire back is on the ground. The lumbar curve is gone. We don't have that space that we could slide our hand under. So if you still have your lumbar curve, lift up and flatten the back a little bit and really take up the space on the mat. And as you move side to side, creating some openness in the hips. You can even take some circles with those knees. I always invite you to play with these postures. You might find a spot that feels good for you, and if you do, you just hang out there for a moment. Breathe into that space. No rush. Also, if there's something that you noticed needed a little bit more of your attention after the class is over, spend a few moments on the mat just kind of playing around with it. This is your practice. As the teacher, I get to do what feels good for my body as I'm leading you. So hopefully it translates well. Nice, extending the legs out nice and long. Reaching the arms up overhead for a full body stretch, a nice awakening stretch. And we're going to come into a twist. So I'm going to have you cross your right leg over your left. And I want you to lift up your legs and just scoot over as far as you can, reaching with that left heel. So that right hip comes off the ground a little. The same thing with the hands. We're going to lift up the upper body and we're going to scoot it over. So we're kind of in a half moon shape. Vanasana. Nice deep breath. If you roll that right hip down just a little bit, making sure that the heel is hooked on the ankle, you can really extend that stretch through the side of the hip and through the side of the body. If you'd like to grab the right wrist with the left hand and give yourself a little tug. So there's always ways to make this a little bit more intense If you're pulling that right arm, make sure you're still melting that shoulder onto the ground. So we're keeping the chest open as well as lengthening the side of the body. Good. Finding our way back to a neutral position. And crossing the left leg over the right. Lifting up those hips, coming off to the side. And same thing with the upper body. And again, if you'd like to grab that left wrist, nice deep breaths. Try not to clench the leg muscles as we're doing this. Relax them. Try not to clench the jaw. Relax the muscles in the face. Good. Finding our way back to neutral, squaring off the body, squaring the legs, soles of the feet together, Sapta Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana is bound angle pose. Sapta means reclined, laying down. Just allow those legs to move side to side. So we opened up the chest today, created space around the heart to allow love and compassion in. The hips go hand in hand with that. We carry a lot of our emotion in our hips. So while it's very important to open the heart chakra, we cannot forget about the hips. So just taking an extra couple moments here. And also, if there's any other postures that you'd like to get into before we close our class with Shavasana today, by all means, maybe a headstand or a handstand or a shoulder stand or a bridge, whatever feels right for you. If you're coming into a shoulder stand, make sure you roll those shoulders underneath the body. Maybe if you have a block, you want to do a supported shoulder stand, place that block underneath you, and even just lifting up the legs. I like the corner of the block to be right at the sacrum. So even just by lifting up the legs, our chest is nice and open. We can bring our arms to the side. It's really good for our circulation. It's a very grounding and calming effect, whether you're supported by a block or whether you're just with the hips down into the ground. Finishing up any of those postures. And making your way into Shavasana. So we can take our traditional Shavasana and have the legs extended out, arms to the side. If you have a wall and you'd like to continue with that by keeping the legs up the wall, by all means, it's a great way to take Shavasana. Maybe you have a blanket you want to cover yourself with, unless you're outside. It's pretty toasty out here today, probably don't need it. Or again, keeping those hips open, Sapta Baddha Konasana. Nice deep breaths. As you're making your way into this posture, whatever variation you've chosen for yourself today, start to allow yourself just to kind of be present in the moment. Feel all the strength that you've created inside the body today. Start to come back to that ebb and flow of the breath. Just recognizing the sounds around you that are near and in the distance, and just allow them to be there. Feeling the crown of the head and the shoulders and the hips and the heels all melting down into the ground. And as you feel those strong points of the body making connection with the earth, you can allow the rest of your body around those points to soften and to relax. The muscles in the face, The muscles of the arms, the chest, the belly softens, the tops of the thighs, the backs of the thighs. And as you exhale, you just release any tension that may still be caught up in the body somewhere. Picture your breath pushing any of that left that's out the tips of your toes, the tips of your finger, the crown of your head. Just being open and knowing that whenever you're ready to let go of that tension or that stress or that whatever that thing for you might be, that you're able to do it. Making sure that breath is consistent, the mind is quiet. Being proud of yourself and honoring your body and your mind today. And notice that whatever you're feeling or whatever you're thinking, you're right. That's how you should be feeling or thinking. Making proper interpretations of those feelings, allowing the heart to be unshielded so that we can clean off that lens and kind of guide ourselves with that heart. Slowly taking some movement to the fingers and the toes. Reaching the arms overhead. Stretching out the body. Gathering the knees in and making your way onto your right side in a fetal position. We bring ourselves to our right side because that way we have a little bit more space for the heart. Slowly making your way back into Sukhasana, our easy seat. Keeping the eyes gently closed, inhaling the arms up, exhaling our hands down through our heart center, Anjali Mudra. Thank you for sharing your time and your space with me today. The light in me honors and recognizes each of you. Namaste. You all for joining me. I appreciate you all being here. I will be following up this class with a power core class, so I hope that you guys will stay tuned. If not, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll be in touch soon.